All right, so for the next category is radical equations level 4. So it's similar idea, but slightly different, okay? So we're going to solve for all values of x, and we're going to start off the same way. We're going to square both sides. Oops. Oh, right. I need a screenshot. Okay, so we're going to square both sides. And so let me rewrite this one. Okay, and then on the right side, the square root and the squared cancel out, so we're just given 8x plus 33. Okay, and then on the left side, we're going to FOIL. So remember, F in FOIL stands for first, so it's a 2x times square root of 2x times square root of 2x, which gives us just 2x. The O in the FOIL stands for outer, so that means the square root of 2x times the minus 5, which gives us minus 5 square root of 2x. The I in the FOIL stands for inner, so it's the minus 5 times the square root of 2x again, so it's minus 5 square root 2x. The L in FOIL stands for last, so it's the negative 5 times the negative 5, which gives us positive 25. And of course, this is equal to 8x plus 33. And so I'm going to give you guys some time here to write and ask questions. Okay, so once again, we need to simplify. So let me combine those two. So we get 2x and then minus 10 square root of 2x. And then plus 25 is equal to 8x plus 33. Okay, so once again, we want to get the radical term. So like this one, we want to get that one by itself. So I'm going to minus 25. That gives us 2x minus 10 square root of 2x is equal to 8x, and then 33 minus 25 is 8. Okay, and then we want to minus 2x. That would give us negative 10 square root of 2x is equal to 6x plus 8. Okay. So from here, we actually have to square it again, which I know isn't very fun, but it is the process we need to follow if we're doing this the right way. So we're going to square it again. That way we can get rid of the square root. So let's see, where do I have space for this? Okay, I'll figure out my space in a little bit, but let's square this one. So negative 10 square root of 2x squared will literally be, well, what is negative 10 squared? And then what is the square root of 2x squared? So that's kind of how I'm expanding that one out so that it'll hopefully break it into easier pieces for us. And then on the right side, we have 6x plus 8 multiplied by 6x plus 8. Okay, and so on the right side, we're going to have to FOIL it. And on the left side, we'll just have to simplify. I'm going to pause here, see if you guys need more time to write. So let's simplify this. Negative 10 squared is 100, and then square root of 2x squared will be 2x. And then over here, we're going to do our first, outer, inner, last. So first, 36x squared. Outer, plus 48x. Inner, plus 48x. And then last, plus 64. So simplifying this gives us 200x, because 100 times 2x is 200x, is equal to 36x squared. These two combine to make 96x. Okay, so lots of big numbers here, and I know it's not very fun to have huge numbers, but it's okay. We'll work through it. So we're going to subtract 200x so that we have our quadratic equaling 0. So we got 0 is equal to 36x squared minus 104x plus 64. Okay, so we finally set it equal to 0. Now these numbers are not fun to work with, so we can think of what is a common multiple of 36 and negative 104 and 64. So one common multiple that we can divide out is 4. So I'm just going to divide everything by 4 because 4 fits into 36, 4 fits into 104, and 4 fits into 64. So when you divide everything by 4, we're just making the problem a little bit smaller for us. So 0 divided by 4 is just 0. 36 divided by 4 would give us 9. So it's 9x squared. 104 divided by 4 is 26. So it's minus 26x. And 64 divided by 4 is just 16. So hopefully the 9x squared minus 26x plus 16 is a little bit nicer than the 36x squared minus 104x plus 64. So I'm going to pause here and see if you guys need more time to write because I know a lot of stuff went on. All right, so sounded like we didn't need more time. So when we have numbers like this, it might be easier to use the quadratic formula, which hopefully you guys can remember. If not, it's okay. I will write it over here. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so when we're plugging it into the quadratic formula, it is indeed a lengthy process. So let's work through it together. Remember that this is your a value. The number in front of your x squared is your a value. So a equals 9. This is your b value, so b equals negative 26, negative because it's a minus 26x. And then your c value is the number at the very end, so c equals 16. Positive because it's a plus 16. Okay. I am going to clear out some space on the bottom because you guys said you copied it already, so let me clear out this space. I feel so bad erasing work, but you said you copied it, and it's all recorded anyways, so should be fine. Okay, erase, erase, erase. Okay, so let's plug it in to our formula. X equals negative of a negative 26, so that gives us positive 26, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 26 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 9, times c, which is 16, all over 2a, and a is 9. Any questions about plugging it in? Okay, so continuing, we get 26 plus or minus the square root of, let's figure out that mess. So what is negative 26 squared? That is 676. And then what is 4 times 9 times 16? So 4 times 9 times 16 is 576. All over 18. So we get 26 plus or minus the square root of 100 over 18. And then I guess continuing the work over here, 26 plus or minus the square root of 100 is just 10. Okay, so we get two answers here. We get 26 plus 10 over 18, and we get 26 minus 10 over 18. That's why we have the plus or minus. So I'm going to zoom out. Oops, that's not how you zoom out. There we go. Zooming out a little bit more. Let's make some more space for us. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of like draw two arrows. So we have the 26 plus 10 over 18, and then we have the 26 minus 10 over 18. Oops. There we go, more space. I know this is a lot. I apologize. It is a long type of problem. Okay. So let's simplify some more. 26 plus 10 over 18 is 36 over 18, which is equal to 2. So here's one possible solution. when we use the quadratic formula, we got 2 as one possible answer. When we do the 26 minus 10 over 18, this is 16 over 18, which simplifies to 8 over 9. So here's another possible answer. So we have 2 possible answers, but once again, we must check by plugging it in. And so in just a moment, we'll check by plugging it in, but up till here, are there any questions? All right, so now, like I said, we're going to plug it into our original problem. So let me remember what our original problem was, and so I can write it out again. So our original problem was square root of 2x minus 5 on the outside is equal to square root of 8x plus 33. Okay. So we're going to plug in, let's plug in 2. Let's see what happens when we plug in 2. Remember, 2 is one of our potential solutions. So we're going to plug it in, and we get square root of 2 times 2 minus 5 is equal to square root of 8 times 2 plus 33. Just going to kind of section that off. Okay. So we get square root of 4 minus 5 is equal to square root of 16 plus 33. And then we get 2 minus 5 is equal to square root of, what is 16 plus 33? 49. Okay, and then we get 2 minus 5 is negative 3 equals square root of 49 is 7. So here we have negative 3 is equal to 7, which is a complete lie. It's a negative number equaling a positive number, and they don't even have the same absolute value. So this is just completely wrong, and so therefore we must reject 2, because when we plugged in 2, it gave us something wrong. So this is wrong. We're going to reject the 2. I'm just going to cross it out. Okay. Now we're going to try the same thing on the 8 over 9. So let's attempt this problem, or attempt the solution plugging it in with 8 over 9. Just going to give myself some space here. Square root of 2 times 8 over 9 minus 5 is equal to square root of 8 times 8 over 9 plus 33. Okay, I'm just going to use a calculator because it makes it a lot easier when you have all of the square roots of fractions and everything. So here, let me block this out so it doesn't get in our way. 2 times 8 divided by 9, and then square root that gives us 1.3 repeating, and then we're going to minus 5 from that. Okay, and then for this one, it's 8 times 8 over 9, and then plus 33, and then we're going to square root that. And I get 6.3 repeating. Okay, so I have 1.3 repeating minus 5 that we need to simplify. So 1.3 repeating minus 5 is negative 3.6 repeating. That's not the same as 6.3 repeating. They're just not the same number. So negative 3.6 repeating is not the same as 6.3 repeating. Therefore, this is also a lie. Let me just cross that out. And therefore, we also reject the 8 over 9. And since we had 2 answer candidates and we rejected both of them, there is no solution. Yay, no solution. All of that work for no solution. Are there any questions up till this point before I go ahead and submit no solution? All right, let's go submit no solution. So we're going to submit absolutely nothing into the answer box. So just submit with nothing. All of that work for literally nothing. Okay, so we finally finished one problem. I think we have time for one more. So let's take a look. And let me pause the video here actually. Okay, so we just decided we're going to show example so that we could go through this faster. So here's an example. We're going to solve for all values of x. So like we said, our first step is to square both sides. You can see that they squared it over here, and then they simplified, or they expanded first. And then you simplify after foiling. Remember we did the foiling step. So they multiplied the square root of x plus 3 times itself, and you got that part. They combined the square root, or the 3 square root x plus 3 square root of x to give us the 6 square root of x on the very bottom. So they just combined those two. So far, are there any questions? Okay, so we're at this point. The next step that we want to do is subtract the 9 on both sides, and then also subtract the x on both sides. So that way we can get our square root all by itself. So 6 square root of x is equal to 5x minus 11. And then from here, you want to square both sides again. So you get 6 square root of x squared is equal to 5x minus 11 squared. And so here's where they had to do the whole foiling again, so it does take a while. And you can see they expanded out. So 6 square root of x times 6 square root of x, that's going to give us 36x. And then the 5x minus 11 squared is going to give us that thing on the bottom. All you have to do is FOIL it and simplify it. So after that part, you want to set it equal to 0. So then you subtract the 36x on both sides, giving us 25x squared minus 146x plus 121. So that's what you get when you subtract 36x on both sides. So now that we have a quadratic equaling to 0, we can plug it into the quadratic formula, which I know takes a long time when you're doing it on your own separate piece of paper, but Delta Math kind of simplified it a bit. They already simplified the inside our square root piece for us. So you got inside the square root is 9,216. And of course, you're going to use a calculator to help you out because I don't think any of you know what the square root of 9,216 is off the top of your head. So that gives us 146 plus 96 over 50. And then remember, there's two solutions. So it's also 146 minus 96 over 50. So one of them is adding, one of them is subtracting. That's what the plus or minus means. Okay, so once we did that part, they simplified for us. We got x is equal to 121 over 25 and x is equal to 1. So these are two possible answers. We are not done yet. We need to plug these into the original function so that we can see if it actually gives us a true statement. So let's see which one they tried first. Okay, they tried the 121 over 25 first. So they plugged it into the original formula, and then you just test it out, and you get 5.2 is equal to 5.2. And that is completely true. They are literally just the same number. So therefore, you accept 121 over 25. This will be one of the answers for this example. So now that we accepted the 121 over 25, we also must check for the x equals 1. So now you can see that they are plugging into our original equation the answer for x equals 1. So the square root of 1 plus 3 is equal to square root of 6 times 1 minus 2. And then let's simplify, and then you get 4 equals 2. So 4 is not the same as 2. So therefore, we must reject the answer x is equal to 1. So x is equal to 1 gave us a false statement. It's a lie. So then you must reject it. Therefore, we only accepted 121 over 25, and we rejected x is equal to 1. So our final answer is just one solution, which is just 121 over 25. Okay, any questions on this one?